I want to talk to you today about heartbreak. You likely have been through one or more heartbreaks in your life. If you're anything over a teenager, this happens to us. And unfortunately, it happens to us more often than many of us would like it to, for sure. The old saying we have, it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. While it's certainly true, because love is the beauty of life and it brings out a fullness, and it brings out really as women all that we are, because we as women, I believe, are love. We are love in the world. We bring forth love in the world. And it's so important for us to be aware of possible heartbreak down the road, because of who we are, what we know as women we are, and how we bond through time and sex. So it's super important to look back in a way that does not in any way impact the future. And that's what I want to talk about today, because if you are stuck because you have had severe heartbreak, and you are either still stuck in wanting to be with a particular man and not being able to let go of that, or you're just smarting from heartbreak after heartbreak and giving up on love, because that, I know, would be a very, very sad thing for you to give up, because there will be more beauty and love in your life. I truly believe that. But it does necessitate a decision on your part. And I wrote down some things here in my journal that I wanted to share with you that I think are really, really important for you to keep in your mind and remember, and really decide today, I am not going to let any previous heartbreak indicate where my life will go, or if I have love or not in my life. For example, the first thing is about forgiving yourself. It could be about forgiving the man. Many times I find, however, it is about forgiving ourselves, because we know, as being the mechanics of relationships, we as women, if you don't know my mechanics of men, look at other videos here or soon to be here about my mechanics of men, that we, because we understand relationships, we know relationships, we are the purveyors and the keepers of relationships, that it comes as a deep failure to us when we fail at a love we wanted. Men have this in a different fashion. And I talk about men thwarting failure in their lives, public failure, and that comes from after they've made a decision. But because we relate our lives, we predicate our lives, and we live our lives via our emotion, heartbreak and failure of a relationship is largely an outgrowth of that for us, whereby for the man it's about public failure and a different ego failure in front of other men, in front of other people. It's a very different thing for us, and so it necessitates for us a real depth of going into forgiving ourselves. And this about forgiveness I love. To forgive means to abandon, to let go completely. When we think about it, if you're going to forgive someone, you're not going to forget. You simply let the feelings go of holding on to anything about it. You just let it go. And many times we need to do that for ourselves. Many times it's harder to do that for ourselves than to do it about someone else. Because I bet with that man that perhaps you have heartbreak with, you have totally forgiven him. But I bet upon bets that you have not forgiven yourself. And that's really what's at play here. And it's one of the hardest things to do, but it takes intention and mindfulness to do so. And then we must think about advancement. I have here, advancement or creation of all kinds is predicated or preceded by crises. I love this. And what this tells me is that, out of our deepest crises usually comes some kind of advancement. And you have to really check yourself. What did that heartbreak tell me? What advancement will come out of this heartbreak? And you can kind of will that to be. In my next relationship, I will be more mindful of what I need to do, because it's really taking on, when we go the distance and we know we've done everything and everything in the right way to make a relationship work, then if it doesn't, we much more easily let it go. I know for myself, when I look back at my deepest heartbreaks, it's because of my knowing now what I didn't know then, and I kind of beat myself up or don't forgive myself for the mistakes I made. But when we know better, we do better. And it does help. It does help to repeat that. I now know better. I didn't know then what I know now. And that brings me to my next point, which is, Leland von Vanderwald said this: let us not look back in anger, nor forward in fear, but around us in awareness. And what this means is that you are likely here because you are starting to have, or have had, a new awareness of what needs to be done to make a relationship work. Because we, as I said, are the mechanics of relationships. And we must be mindful at all times of keeping a relationship well-oiled and tuned up and on the road, going the distance. Just like a man in our lives, 9 times out of 10, maybe 9.5 times or 9.75 times out of 10, he is the one that works on the real car. And if you were out in the desert and you got stuck on the road and you didn't have much water and you had no cell service and there wasn't going to be a car coming for maybe a day, 2 days, a week, you naturally would look to him to work on that car. That's what our men do with us. Now, it's not talked about. It's not out there in our society. But we must have that higher knowledge, that higher knowing, and we must have the approaches and even a bit of strategy that works for making a relationship go the distance and stay on the road and run well. And that's what I'm all about. This is here on YouTube and all that I do about awareness, bringing you to awareness. But what will you do with that awareness? If you are not working with someone, I recommend that if you are in a relationship that is having any kind of trouble, or you are just dating now and you want your next relationship to go the distance, either of those situations, you need to have a constant mindfulness and awareness. And that's hard to do on your own, because I know what happens mostly is that we can easily slip back and listen to our friends. And I can tell you from working with all the women that I do, that each woman has her own unique situation, but more than that, her way of relating, that I do not give the same coaching and guidance to that woman in terms of her particular situation. Her thing might be anxious attachment, while another is a whole different thing. And if you're just talking to your friends, they're not going to be dealing with that with you in a way that is going to get you to your rightful place in relationships, because they're dealing with a whole other thing And they're coming from that vantage point when talking to you about it. So we have to be seriously careful and seriously mindful and very mindful of who we are working with, or if it's just talking to. It's a very personalized thing that we do when we work with individuals in coaching, in counseling, in any profession. It has to be seriously tailored to that person. Now, there's some things, of course, like, for example, I have my self-help course, and that is simply steps you take in online dating. But the reason I have in there is that when you have that question and when you get stuck, you've reached another plateau. And at that time, with the self-help course, you can be talking to me. It's all for a very, very low price. But it's when you are ready and when you know, ding, I've reached that plateau. I'm now mindful that I must pay more attention. And it's an interesting thing being in a helping profession, that one thing, all of us in the helping profession, we know one thing for sure, that those who pay attention. They pay attention in a way that those who are not, generally speaking, do not. They take what it is that's convenient to understand and absorb, and then apply that to whatever's going on. However, it doesn't go deep enough, generally speaking. And so my One Love, Online to Never Ending Love, 7 Simple Steps to Digital Dating Success self-help course is when you just feel like dipping your toe in and you want to see how I can best move my online dating to a place whereby a man is going to be most interested in going the distance after we've corresponded online in the right way, talked in the right way, and then met and had even a first, second, and third date in the right way. And that sets you up for success. That's being a mechanic. That's what I'm all about, because I don't want any woman to suffer heartbreak needlessly. Heartbreak happened to you for a reason, and it likely precipitated or preceded advancement, and that may be why you're here. So I hope you will look into my programs and see, because if you're ready and you are completely committed and you've hit that next plateau and you are ready, there's a program for you where we can be talking weekly. But there is all manner of ways and means so that we can be talking and working together. I have that at coachpaulagrooms.com/programs. I hope you will check it out. And think about these wonderful sayings that will really be helpful to you, and say them over and over, because when you start first to forgive yourself, first and foremost, you are on that next rung, and realize that your heartbreak was a necessary crisis that precipitated your advancement. That's what we're all about: love and romantic success and personal advancement. And I will be talking with you soon. I trust you got a lot of good information from today's video, so I hope you'll subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're sure to get all my upcoming videos as soon as they come out. And if you are here and seeing this video between May 19th, 2021 and June 19th, 2021, then I urge you to go to my spring Not Just a Fling giveaway. It's a giveaway especially for subscribers here, and if you are already subscribed, you just go to that video, Spring Not Just a Fling giveaway, and you will get all the instructions on how to enter. If you are a new viewer, then please do subscribe and be part of the Wonder Women family. And you can do that by going to that video as well, subscribing, get all the details there, and get a wonderful giveaway and getaway in 2021.